2000 to 18. I mean, why is it so high compared to?
Because it could be the way that we coded the expenditures.
I mean,
because it's professional and technical services, other services. So we could have put all of the IT, anything that had to do with IT, we put in there. Plus we did some IT work last year. We added the Wi-Fi, we put in a new router, we did some other work.
This has Avatar. I think we write a budgeted Avatar under assessment last year. So
some of it. Some of it. Avatar, they bill us based on the software. So there's assessing software, there's tax software, and then there's the town clerk software. So the tax software would go into financial admin.
I was trying in my head to go back over. You were awarded about $82,000 for solar panels, right, for grants?
Yes.
And then I know that with the FEMA, we're talking about a lot of money.
Yes.
And the administrator position is responsible for all of that. And I know doing grants is a lot of work, and it takes a lot of skill. I mean, it was a lot of time and effort when I did the COVID ones like 2 years ago that were maybe $50K a year. And we're talking about with FEMA, probably upwards of $500,000.
Oh, no. We'll see more than that.
More than that. I was going to say 750.
We'll see more
than that.
Why is our budget going up then? If you'll see all that money from FEMA back.
The budget, the revenue, and any unanticipated revenue is not part of the budget per state statute. So that'll come into play a year or two later, depending on when the funds actually are received. So revenue, any unanticipated revenue. So unanticipated revenue is any grant money that's over $10,000, and all of the FEMA money, because it's unanticipated, we don't have an exact dollar amount, or we don't have an exact guarantee that it's coming or when, is considered unanticipated. So when we find out what we're getting or when we get it, we have to have a public hearing on it. Select board has to have a public hearing to accept it. And at that time, I believe, I haven't read through all the statutes yet because they're lengthy. At that time, then the select board can say, this much is going here, this much is going here, this much is going here. This is what you'd like to do with it because whatever.
Beth, can you explain that FEMA thing that you just talked about again?
So the FEMA, all the paperwork to get that FEMA reimbursement for all the work on our roads, and we've got two types. One is just getting the roads back up and to the status where they were. And then the second part is mitigating the risk of flood damage in the future. So doing more with the culverts and the headers and the geo things, the geocells that Adam was explaining. All of that, it takes a lot of effort on the part of Adam and Ron, but it's really all coordinated and managed by Jeanette. Anytime you're doing a grant like that, it's a lot of work, and it takes a lot of expertise to make sure it's done properly, because you have to cross every T and dot every I. So it's a lot of work. And even like the solar grant. So my point in bringing this is, in the current budget, there's a 3% increase for the administrator. It basically just covers cost of living. Cost of living right now, the last month or so, has been 2.7%. 3% really isn't a raise. I think we should consider a raise for our town administrator, because she's already bringing in more money than her salary. Just a solar grant is more than her salary. I mean, we're talking about, $750,000 to $1 million in FEMA reimbursements in the next year or two. And with all that work, I think we really should consider a bigger increase. You know, I would suggest even, you know, if we did 10%, which would only be a 7% merit, the rest, the 3% would be cost of living. You know, that would be less than $6,600. And that would still put her, you know, less than what the solar grant was, what she brought in.
You're asking the taxpayers to come up with money though.
I think this is
We are, but we're getting value, that's the whole point, is that there's, it's hard to hire people with the skill set to do grants, especially if you're in the North Country. And if we look at trying to get more like, you know, grant money in the future, that's an important expertise to have.
I think this is a bad year to be doing that because of the disaster and the headaches that we're gonna be putting on our residents for taxes as it is, in my opinion.
So our taxes were about the same as last year. They went up minimally, and a lot of that was a school.
She gets salary for 32 hours as an administrator, am I correct to say that? And then the rest is on tax collector and clerk. So, you know, that extra that is on there, I mean, that's just part of the package of the work that has to be done, and it's just an unfortunate year for everybody. And I commend when the things happen, but just because there's extra of what you're seeing coming in, it doesn't mean that we have to just keep adding to it to make it hard on the residents. I think this year, in my opinion, is not a good year to be talking about that.
And I'm looking at it from a point of view of what's benefiting the town, the current year and the next coming years, and also as we look at trying to keep an employee engaged and willing to stay, because there are more grant opportunities that can help us and help our town in the future, but it takes expertise to find out about those grants, to go through the process of applying for them, making sure the applications are correct, and then to manage the grant funds. And that's a skill set that not everyone has.
What else do you guys want to look at?
Were you able to get the, some of the revenue data so you can look at that?
So I'm still waiting for the bookkeeper to update some discrepancies of about $14,000 that we have in the system. It's all in tax warrant. I think what she did is she entered the actual warrant amount and not the actual received amount. So there's some discrepancies there. But right now we are looking at $1,294,000 as far as revenues go. That does include the $420,000 that we transferred from capital reserves last year.
Does not include that.
It does
Doesn't
include
include
that.
that, okay.
Mhm.
And that was 429,000?
420,000, 423,384. Now, keep in mind that 25% of the revenue bags and 50% of the luft tax still hasn't been broken out. So about $15,500 of the $31,000 in luft tax will go to the Conservation Commission. And about $6,800 or so of the $26,500 in revenue for blue bags will go to the paper bag fund.
And I'm sorry, I was trying to write notes and.
You want me to
So
go
the
back
paper
up?
bag, how much was the paper bag?
$26,573.
And so 25% of that goes into the fund, right?
Yes.
Okay.
So 5,000, 6,000, 1,000.
And then the other one was our
Land use change tax,
tax, which was 31,
31,124.
and 50% goes into the conservation commission, right?
Correct.
So basically, you're looking at revenue being about 851,729.
If you take away what, the capital reserves and the,
And the conservation commission and the
okay,
paper bag.
800 what?
I'm sorry?
800 what?
I get, this is for about $851,729, but. rough calculation.
851,729.
Yeah, but that's rough, I could have, I'm just doing it quickly, so. So do we have, consolidated amount for our transfer station? Because I know that comes in different pots.
What do you mean?
Like, do we know the total, revenue for the transfer station?
Yep. $40,666.
And Andrew, we have a
Expense?
subtotal of our expenses.
Yep. $56,185.
For 2024.
Correct.
And we're budgeting 64K, right? So it's,
Yes. $1,970.
And this revenue, you just gave into the transfer station, is that actual or proposed?
Actual.
So we basically subsidize the transfer station by about less than $16,000, which I think is probably
Pretty
pretty
close to what's usually done, yeah, the last couple of years. It's usually 16 to 20,000, I think.
And of course, this doesn't include the salaries, though, right, or does it?
Yes, it does.
It does, okay.
Yeah, that's all
Yeah, which
expenses.
is basically, so our subsidy is basically salaries and benefits.
Yeah, because this doesn't include benefits in any of the departments. That's all in personnel admin.
So basically, salary. And on the budget, the appropriation, the expenditure side, what are we looking at about that bottom line? So look at,
1,190,886. That's if we had no changes to what is currently plugged in there. The variance of 173 over last year, 17%. After the offsetting grant revenue under 10,000, that has to go into the budget numbers. Do you see what I mean? The difference between this number and this number is 181.5, but then we have offsetting grant revenue of 8,400, which is under the $10,000 threshold, which is why it has to be in here.
okay,
So you have a net variance of 173, which is 17%.
what we spent versus what we budgeted.
17% of the budget
Of the budget compared to what we spent or to the budget? I'm sorry.
to the budget.
To the budget, okay.
Yes,
So
that's the
increased
proposed
to
budget to budget, to the last year's budget, yes.
And if we look at the,
And really, we spent almost $1.6 million this past year
because we had all of the,
because of all the flood
and
damage.
how is that accounted for here? Because this is what will go into, I can't remember the number of the form.
It's not accounted for here
Okay,
because it was funded by capital reserve funds and it will be funded by FEMA funds.
okay, even though we're,
And it was funded by fund balance. So we went in and took the 175 for fund balance for 2024. And then we took the 400 and some thousand out of capital reserve.
the 420K, was that all?
Yep.
approved?
Most of it, not all of it.
So the accounting for those expenditures is not in this budget,
Correct.
right? Nor is it in the revenue side,
Correct.
after you take out the capital reserve.
Correct.
So that's basically,
The only part that's in here, I'll go back, the only part that's in here as far as the emergency road repair is there is labor in here, and then there is some of the fuel in here. And a little bit of labor that the fire department provided $3,500 or $4,000 or something. That is in here because it wasn't coded to the emergency code. But
We're still
nothing else is
eligible to
in
get
here, so
reimbursement based on it.
we will still be reimbursed for it. So all the contracting, all the material, the stone, the equipment, everything is not in here.
Okay. And when we report expenditures to the Department of Revenue, we don't include those expenditures?
I don't know, I've never had to do the emergency expenditures before, so I'm sure Jamie will walk me through it.
Okay. So
I'm
you've
sure
got it
we
in another-
probably have to report it because they're gonna ask what we spent total,
Right.
right? And then we're gonna go back and say, we spent 1.6 million, and they're gonna say your budget was $1 million. So you're 600,000 over budget. How did you make up for it?
Which is where we have.
And that's where we have the capital reserve, we have the fund balance. I mean,
Right, that comes out to the
Yep.
600K.
Yep.
Okay. At this point, we don't do anticipated revenue, right? For 2025?
no, I don't think so.
I'm trying to remember those.
I don't think so. I don't think we have to do that till like April or May.
How the highway road material jumped from 13 to 38.
Here?
Yeah.
Because stone, if you see here, we're combining gravel with road materials. Gravel went from 25 to 0. Right above it. Sorry.
And that's because of the disaster?
No, we're getting rid of the gravel budget line item, and it's all going to be road material. We're combining gravel with road materials for the budget.
So if you look at 25,000 plus 13,200, that's 38,000.
Instead of having a road material code and a gravel code, our road material is gravel, essentially. So Adam said, why do we have to have 2 codes? And I said, you don't. You want 1 code? And he said, yeah, that would be easier. So I said, fine, we'll combine.
Okay.
And it just makes sense to me. And last year being our first year using the accounting software, we kind of just said, these are the codes that exist. Let's set those up in the system and see how the first year goes. So now this year, we're kind of fine tuning it, saying, we don't need this code because it's really kind of a duplicate of this one. It's like the highway department has a pipe and permit line that has a budget to it, and I've never seen a single penny spent to it, ever. So I'm like, well, why do we need that? That's really why. So this year we'll fine tune it. We'll have less codes, a few less codes, not a whole lot, but you know, to make it a little bit tighter, I guess.
So if you go down to the bottom line, so we're proposing, if we figure that our revenue is going to be the same next year,
Our revenue's going up because of the unanticipated revenue.
right?
Can I throw a dollar amount at that right now?
No, I would exclude that because that
I mean,
covers expenditures that we're not.
it's gonna more than cover the expenditures.
Okay.
FEMA reimburses based on FEMA pricing, not on Dalton pricing. So, like, we pay Adam $20 an hour, just say. Then Adam gets his benefits. Someone like Adam making $20 an hour, they have certain benefits. We may pay See, we're paying 13% retirement. They may say they have retirement, they get 15% for that. Equipment, like all of our owned equipment that obviously, I mean, we pay for it, right, in our lease to own, but we don't have an hourly rate. So they have an hourly rate. So if we say we use our excavator for 10 hours and the hourly rate's $150 an hour, they're giving us $1,500 to use that excavator to fix that road. So FEMA reimburses based on the FEMA rates, not on the Dalton cost. So that's how FEMA works, surprisingly.
I think we do need to do estimated revenues for the MS 636. We did
Yeah, but this is from 2020.
2024.
Okay.
So we had the actual revenues for the period ending 12/31/23.
And then estimated for 20.
And then this would be the estimated revenue for 2024, which was a year. This. So we should go through the revenues and see if
We
we want
anticipate them to
any
be
changes.
different. Okay. Yeah, we can do that.
And we also want to look at these. So last year, we estimated we needed to raise $430,175 in taxes. That includes the special warrant articles.
That would be calculated after everything is put into the system.
Right.
Yeah.
We're not there yet.
Right.
And where we are now, without the special warrant articles, is $339,000.
Okay.
If the revenue stays the same.
Okay.
So that's looking at 2024 revenue, which isn't finalized yet, and the.
Well, that's pretty close. That, I don't think we're gonna change much from that revenue.
Okay.
It's just in the system, the report that prints out is there's a $14,000 difference. But my numbers are based off of what comes out of the tax system that says this is what we've received.
Right,
So
and that's what we should be.
I'm confident in my numbers
Yeah.
that are $14,000 different.
And this adjusts for the capital reserve and the paper bags.
Yep.
And the temporary, the land use change tax.
Gotcha. Okay.
So that means we're in pretty good shape in terms of what we had in past years.
Sounds like it.
So if we look at the revenue, because we won't be, the unanticipated revenue we won't be putting in here. Is there anywhere where we should look at a change? The land use change tax is going to be estimated $7,000. For 2024. And we're looking at about 15,000.
Say that again.
So for 2024, we estimated for the budget 7,000. And this year, we're really looking after we adjust for money to go to the conservation commission, we're looking at $15,562. So do we wanna budget it at 15,000? What do we expect in terms of land coming out of,
Well, we've got under canvas, that's coming out.
that would be a substantial amount.
Yeah.
So we know the scope of that? I don't remember if I put that. We don't know what it's gonna be assessed at, and it depends on its current assessed value when it comes out, right?
Correct.
So should we budget at probably at least 15,000?
I would probably budget the same that we did this year.
The same that we ended up, so that, well, that would be the 15,562 after we,
What did we anticipate though?
7,000.
Oh, yeah, no. I would anticipate more than that.
So 20,000?
I would think 20,000 is a conservative number.
Maybe that.
What's this, explain it again, what's,
This is when property comes out of the current use.
Yeah.
It's taxed, for what they would have paid.
How many acres are coming out up there? Is it 50?
I'm looking at the planning board. Charity.
Where's Chris?
Quite a bit.
I know
Was
it's 100, isn't it like
107?
100 and some acres, but not everything will come out.
Right,
I would say at least half.
I was thinking 107, but maybe not,
You're pretty close.
yeah.
But that's the total land.
I was
and not
thinking
all of it will come out.
120, but
Right, some of it probably won't be
Right.
used for part of the campground.
Yeah.
But it will be under the lease,
it's only what's developed though.
yeah.
Well, the 20,000 is conservative. I wanted ever to be conservative.
I bet you would probably be.
why do you gotta put that money there? That's what I'm trying to understand.
You're trying
So
to
we're
figure
trying-
out your proposed revenue for next year, for this year.
It's part of the budget is we've got the appropriation expenditure side, but we also have the revenue side. So we're trying to estimate what that will be.
That will be coming to the town.
Right.
Yes,
Okay,
exactly.
I got you now.
So 20,000?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Regular tax revenues probably are the same, we say 6,000 just around it. That's gonna be, that changes, didn't we, don't we have?
It's gonna be the same as this year, it's 135.
And then it will change.
Excavation tax is usually the same.
2,000.
Sewer tax is gonna be 48.72. If it doesn't go up.
So that's doubling.
You
We're
have to remember
anticipating.
this is received. It's not what's billed.
Okay,
Penalties, interest, what did we put for penalties and interest last year?
20.
We're pretty close. I think we'll probably see the same.
Okay, 20.
Vehicles are gonna be about the same. What did we propose?
220,000. Pretty close.
Really depends on how many people get new cars, so it depends on what the economy does. Car funds.
We did a combination of other licenses, permits, and fees, all of that was 250.
I was usually about that. UCCs don't change much. 2,250, you said? No. $1,250. Okay. Subdivision fees. Did we have anything in there for revenue for subdivision fees?
Part of other licenses and fees.
I bet you we didn't have anything. Wanna put 500 in there?
We budgeted 80 for.
Yeah, we got a nice surprise on that one.
But listening to the state budget now, I don't think we should come on that.
I don't think that they'll change anything as far as how they distribute the meals and rooms tax. I just don't know what the economy's gonna do and whether people are gonna travel. I would say stay with 80.
80?
Highway block grant.
We budgeted 83,000. We got like 17,000. Must be in a different file. Yeah, I'm trying to remember that. Letter that we got in.
Let's see if it's in here. I think it was like 17,000.
For what are the installments? So we get like 4 installments. and then all
Yeah,
the
but
same.
usually it goes down, like you get your higher installments the beginning of the year. So probably 17, 15, 15, or 13.
So should we budget?
So
down this year?
it goes down, unfortunately, because it depends on how much money you're getting from the feds. And then it depends on what roads they plan on focusing on for the year. And then they base it on your population, so it'll probably go down again.
So 70,
I would go down.
65?
60?
I was thinking 60.
That's what I was thinking.
It's better to say you're getting less and get more than to expect more and get less. Because then
Yeah,
at the end of the
revenue's
year, when you go through this, you're like, oh damn.
I mean, it looks like our revenue's gonna be down substantially next year.
Except for the unanticipated revenue.
Yeah, I have to remember that.
I don't anticipate anything for a bridge grant.
Yeah.
We don't get anything for forest and land, it's $200 if that. Railroad tax is the same thing, we get nothing. We won't get anything for ARPA.
No, but that was the last of it. Right?
Well, this 15,000 is categorized as ARPA because that's where the money came from that went into the State Department of Environmental Services that paid for the work that we had done at the pump station that I got a grant for.
For the grant, okay.
Yep.
Okay.
So we can't anticipate zero there. Zero from, well, we don't anticipate the money for the other grant because it's over 10,000, so we'd have to do an anticipated revenue there. We don't count it. Pistol permits. Charges for services, that's like copies and whatever, things like that, and we put in $30. Board of Selectmen, could be right to know requests that are handed out in print, so you charge for that. What did we do last time? Anything? Department 3401.
It's combined with income from departments, it's combined with transportation,
Oh,
so I'd say 40, just,
it's really not gonna make that big of a difference. Election revenue. I don't see it being that high unless we have a ever increasing amount of people who want marked checklists at $100 and something a pop.
so like 300, 250. Probably about the same for bags, so like half of that would be the 15,000, so probably 16,000. Tires, 12,000, which is probably about the same.
It's really hard to figure out just because we didn't track that well. This is demo. Demo will probably be about the same. Tires, $100. Bulbs. Computers, probably 50. Small appliances. Again, it all really depends on the economy. Recycling, I say 1,500. Furniture, 200. Depends on what we do with the prices of mattresses and
Put them on the side of the road like everybody else.
We don't have any of the deeded properties to sell, right?
we don't, but we did get a check today for the property we sold in late December. So that will go towards revenue for this year. It was 17,700. So,
But that will go for 2024?
no, it'll go for 2025. It goes by receipt date.
Okay.
Interest on investments, I mean, we did really good with that CD last year. Maybe we can do that again.
500.
Yeah.
Do a lot better,
Yeah, we did super.
but we've got to have the cash flow to be able to do that.
That is correct. So,
I don't know, 6,000? No,
I'd put 2,000.
okay.
Like we said, be conservative. If you get more, it's better. Did we do anything for miscellaneous 3503?
That was combined. We had 10,000 in that, actually. But we have no revenue in 2023, so that seems like, I'm not sure why we, can't remember why we budgeted that. 3,000, I don't know, 1,500.
We don't usually.
Yeah, that's those are warrant articles.
Yeah.
Or however we use it. That's a big decrease.
Yeah, but you got this,
Oh, yes, okay,
and you got this.
Yeah.
So what number did you come up with there? 3 something?
339, 157,
We came up with 618.
for, okay. For that.
Then
I'm
add
still-
the unanticipated on
Struggling
top
with
of it.
that though, because like our pilot went down substantially, it went down, so.
sewer taxes went up. Looks like we can collect it when we bill it. That went down. 0 for ARPA.
If you take that total there, which was budget, where we got from, you take out the capital reserves and the property sale, then it's down to 728,
Mhm.
461, so that makes more sense.
Mhm.
when you think that way. That has us raising about 572,000. And the unanticipated revenues when you take function costs.
Mhm.
But they still take a couple of.
Yep. Yeah, I mean, it's gonna be a push to get the work done so we can get the money.
It is, and that's where I really think that looking at the administrator salary, at 10% overall, which is 3% cost of living and 7% on top of that, makes a lot of sense when we're talking about almost 600,000 in expenditures, but we're looking at probably $1 million in reimbursement. That's, there's not a lot to pay for that. We already have 82,000, 15,000 in grant money that's been brought in. So that's 97,000, that's $100,000 in grant money. we've already received this year.
Would you say that other number was 5?
Um, 572?
That's what I
We'll hold you to it.
No.
Very
Yep, I get it. It's an
That's
estimate
my
until it's,
scribbling is,
it's an estimate until it's finalized. DRA could say, nope, yep, nope, and then it changes, so.
that's very true. So based on the fact that, we have 97,000 in grant revenue for 2024, and we're looking at, all of the, effort and expertise in getting the FEMA reimbursement, I make a motion that we increase the town administrator salary by 10%. And it's also acknowledging that about 3% of that is just cost
We
of
doing that
living.
across the board for everybody then?
I think we should look at them individually. I mean, cost of living, we may not consider across the board. But I think we should look at it each.
I know Ron's put a lot of work into it.
You're right. Yes. Yep, I think we should look at that. And Adam has put a lot of work in as well. Shall we, so if we increased Adam's salary by 10%, that'd be $28.60 an hour. I don't have Ron's salary in my head.
17, is it?
For what?
Ron,
18.
18?
What does Ron get paid an hour? I think it's $18 an hour.
Low for what everything he does. So let's bring him up to 18.8. I think you've got a good point there.
Not this year, because I don't, there's too much that's happened. I think, in my opinion, that, if we talked about it next year, it might be a different story, but, there's a lot going on right now, and granted, I understand we got grant money went out, but that grant money ain't all soup or whatever you wanna call it either, because the town, you do grants and the town still has to pay, I don't know a whole lot about it, 'cause I didn't get to see all the grants, but I think, that, for me, I'd rather wait till next year.
I think, the work's been done in 2024 and it's ongoing in 2025, so, I'm gonna make a motion that we increase our department managers, which would include the town administrator salary by 10%.
Gonna go with Tom, what's on for next year?
Well, we're talking about doing it now, they wouldn't go into effect until after town meeting.
We're at a drop right now.
Okay, what else?
And so now there may be some slight changes to this, right?
Yep.
Because like, we have a December legal invoice we haven't paid yet. So that-
November and December have not been paid for legal.
So that would go on to 2024 expenditures.
Yes. If I can get approvals to get them paid.
Can we go back to the expenditures?
Mhm.
Now to legal. I mean, 35,000. Looks reasonable if we look at the last 4 months. Maybe a little higher based on the expenditures we've been seeing.
That legal was, we, budgeted 20,000 last year. And before we got new legal, over 15 of it was spent before we even got new legal.
I don't think so.
With the paperwork I saw with this, that's what it came to. But if I'm wrong, you can show me. And then, as far as the extras, we'll share in that, expenses on that. So that means it's, in my calculation, my thought, we're like 15 or 16 over budget.
No, I would say 15 or 16 over budget, but I think, I thought we were way under budget back through August. I do not remember the exact number.
I'd have to go pull the transaction report. But I thought we were at like 89,000 for the switch. Maybe 10.
That's what I'm remembering,
I don't know.
I don't remember the number, but it was,
I don't
being half of our budget, and we were already past 6 months.
Yeah, because it happened in September, right?
Right, that's the first month. So I mean, we're looking at 35,000, 36,000 probably into this year. And that's for. So I don't know if 35,000 is enough. I think we should probably go with.
Yeah, because the December one is 14/7.
Is that everything that's past due though, or just December?
Just December, what you sent me.
Can I see it? No, just December is 10,442. No. 10,000 is 4,300. For the previous balance of 10,400, which we paid 7,000. So there's a $3,000 balance plus December is 7,000 and some change, say 8,000 at least. So you're you're looking at another 10, yeah, I mean, 8 to 10, you'll hit 35,000 this year, or for 2024.
We should bump that up. 45,000.
What are you suggesting?
45 at least.
I can't hear.
45.
Stay at 35.
There's that much here, and it's gonna be covered, it's gonna be covered.
We also have the investigation too. That's conservative, it may be higher.
You also have the host community agreement negotiations if that starts.
Would that be reversed?
Up to 25,000.
Well, I think- And so that would be unanticipated revenue. We'd have to have a public hearing for that,
For what?
for the negotiating the host community agreement. When we
Yes,
start getting money, right?
yes.
So the anticipated expenses along that, would we need to have an appropriation? We would just
No,
overspend.
because it's an unanticipated,
Okay.
unless it ends up being less than $10,000.
So we would be, I'll do the 35,000 up to 45, so it's about 50.
Probably 45.
Okay. And I'm ready to, with the, some cleaning up that will happen as things get posted, to go to budget hearing with this. Given that there's going to be some changes, because some things aren't posted yet, are we ready to go to budget hearing with this? Do we need to do another meeting?
I'd like another one, just over it, a little more.
Are there things in particular you guys want to go
No,
over?
I want to look it over at Alice. He said,
Say that again?
what she said, I said, just want to look it over.
And then have another meeting?
Yeah.
When's
Next Monday.
our regular meeting?
Yep.
When's our budget hearing always?
A week from Friday.
On the 7th.
The
On the
6th.
6th, it's on Thursday.
Sorry.
So the question is, do we want to do it at our regular meeting, or do we want to have another working session?
I would really prefer if we could keep it to the regular meeting, because I've got a really full schedule right now. With town meeting, town election, town warrants, town report. I really can't see myself squeezing in another meeting if we can avoid it.
If you send this to us, so we have a week to look at it.
Well, I sent to you you want just the updated with the $45,000 in it, or?
I want the whole thing that you went over with the extras that you put on it and all that.
Okay. With the revenue additions?
The whole budget that we're gonna be going over with the public.
Gotcha. So can I leave a 3% increase in here for myself for cost of living? Or you're not going for that either? Because I have that currently in here.
I think we definitely should leave that.
Well, I ain't got no say so because you guys already voted it. That day I wasn't here, you guys voted it.
Voted
Sorry.
on what?
The day that I missed,
No,
There was no vote. It was a working session, Tom.
well, I
There was
thought you
no
already
vote.
voted it. Didn't you?
I mean, we decided on the salary for the combined tax collector
right.
town clerk position.
That's probably what I heard.
That's the one you sent us today, right?
Yes.
So we can look at it again on Monday.
Anything else on this file?
That's it.
Tom?
No, I'm all set for now.
You all set? Thank you. We should go over the legal invoices so we can make them. I looked over the one for November, and they did adjust the September and October one by $783. So that was good. But in November was sent out to us back on December 12th. I've got a couple of questions. So on, November 27th, this, 1.3 hours, $299. Receive and review lengthy email from Safe Forest Lake regarding town council and hostile work environment concerns. Review matter and consider next steps. But I don't know why he spent time on that, because we didn't direct him to.
Which one is this you're talking about?
I'm talking about November. We received
That's
this
just
on
December.
Oh.
December 12th. Did that send it to us? So, we didn't, that was something he sent on his own, and we didn't ask legal to do anything with it, didn't call for any action. That
Well,
was,
if that's the case, then somebody needs to call him and get that fixed up.
okay. And then, I'm confused on a couple things, because November 30th, we have 1.8 hours, $414, receive and review email from select board member detail regarding a variety of town matters. Review and consider possible next steps regarding right to know request issues. And I'm trying to remember, did we authorize that as a board? I don't remember.
I didn't ever do anything without talking with the board first. Yeah, Eric's the only one that can do it without talking to the board.
Well, I think it requires the board if we're gonna, if there's an issue. I'm not recalling that. And on another November 30th, it's work on and consider next steps regarding hostile work environment concerns raised. And that was prior to us deciding to go forward, because when we talked about going to legal with it, after that was when you authorized me to send that information, and there were a list of things to legal, which I did on December 11th. So these things, I'm not remembering the board agreeing to move forward on them, but maybe we did. I didn't see the email from Tom regarding a variety of town matters. I think we should all see that. So at this point on November, I think we're in agreement that the one about reviewing an email that was sent out, that we didn't authorize them to, we should ask together.
I don't remember. That email going on.
Yeah, I mean, unless Tom, did you ask him to review that? I pulled out the email so I could remember what it was saying. It was this email that came from Safe Forest Lake that was to us as selectmen, and I think legal was copied on it. But there was no reason to act on it because it wasn't from us. That's the one that he's referring to. He's saying, receive and review lengthy email from Safe Forest Lake regarding town council and hostile work environment concerns. Review matter and consider next steps. But we didn't ask him to review it.
No.
Did you ask him, Tom?
No, I'm right. Hold on, let me think here a second. I'm gonna have to look over my stuff. I don't know. I don't remember. I don't think so, but. I gotta write that down so I can. This was sent from him to us, is that what you're telling me?
That was sent to us, but if you look legal is copied on it. So it also, if you look at the CC, but it didn't come from us to legal.
11/14/24. I'll get back down.
And then, Tom, I'd like to see the email that you sent to legal regarding a variety of town matters. That was, the billing date on this was 11/30.
Yes, I know that we got a right to know on that, and they did the right to know on that. They should have that in hand.
I'm sorry.
They did a right to know on all this. I think it was Mr. Swan. They should have all this stuff.
I'm asking so we know what we want to
Oh,
push back on and what we want to pay.
yeah, I can get that to you.
Okay, because I'm not remembering the board authorizing that. So, with these questions, so we want to push back on the $299 for reviewing that email and say Forest Lake?
Yeah.
Okay. Do you want me to call him and ask him about that?
Or I can, it don't matter, it's up to you.
Okay, well, one of us needs to.
I think the chair should be responsible for that.
Are you comfortable doing that? Okay. And then these others,
And I guess
I'd like to see that email, that's $414. And then if we look at the December invoice, on December 5th, we've got a telephone conference with Select Board Member Tom Dubio, prepare for call and review materials. We've got on December 5th, review, analyze, and work on town matters, exchange analysis with Board of Selectmen and town staff regarding a number of town
I don't think you can be on the phone that long.
no.
Receive and review numerous documents for right to know concerns and possible reactions, so I know those were ongoing.
That was what they.
It's all fine. Receive and review documents from Selectman Dubriel. And then on the 9th, there's a telephone conference with Select Member Dubriel regarding DCC and Casella. And, that was before because we had a meeting, all of us, about various issues. And, all the material for that meeting was sent on December 11th. And on the 13th, there was receive and analyze topics for discussion sent by Select Board Member Dubriel. On the 18th, review, consider, and analyze response to list of questions from Select Board Member Moore. So, you asked me to reach out to set up that meeting and send background information. I did, I copied all of you on it. I'd like to be copied on these things, but you're reaching out independently to the attorney. And meanwhile, from the December 5th one, it was over 3 hours, so, over $700. Are these all ones that we should authorize Jeanette to pay?
If we did it, we have to.
So then you
And
did
then
have
we
these
did-
telephone conferences outside of the,
We did, we, in non-public, we talked about, there was one time that I called and I hadn't seen it, but I said, did you have a chance to work on this stuff yet? And I was on the phone for like maybe 3 to 5 minutes. That's the only,
couple months ago.
huh?
That was a couple months ago,
Yeah,
right?
that's the only time, but, it's been approved through the board together. So I don't know what you're trying to make me look like again, but it's okay.
Excuse me, I'm trying to remember whether these were, I
You,
don't remember, because we talked as a board, and that's where we wanted a meeting, all of us, which we
Mhm.
had. So,
if it's a bill that we did, I'll look these up here and, if it's, I'll get back to you on it.
so meanwhile, so we can have the revenue, the expenditures correct for 2024, we need to resolve these. So you're going to call legal about
Save for a sleep stuff later.
that one, okay. And are we authorizing payment on all the others?
Yeah, we have to. If we owe them the money, we have to.
Well, do we want to wait till the next meeting to figure that out? Because there were some things that were in question.
We still have time to talk to them.
I mean, next meeting will be the last checks that are cut prior to the budget hearing, so the expenses won't be shown in 2024. Unless you want me to pay everything except for the items that you guys are questioning, except for December, since there's so many items that are being questioned. I mean, this one's for $550, $850 that's being questioned for November.
Well, then Sean is saying he did incur those costs. I need to go back and check, because I just saw, if we remember there were right to know issues, but.
So
Well, you showed me on one on there that I was talking for 3 hours and something. I know yeah. I don't talk to anybody for that kind of time on the phone.
Well, it was reviewing documents, it was doing other work, it wasn't talking on the phone. Because it was a 48-hour telephone conference review. So it seems to me if York is gonna check about that, one for $299. Then we'd be able to do that. And you can get back to Jeanette.
Yeah.
And then it seems like, depending on the answer, you either have to pay it or not, and pay all the other expenses.
Get a copy of that.
You got it on December 12th, but if you want my notes on it,
Let's just so I don't forget.
Yeah.
Which one it is? 12/27, 11/27.
11/27 for an hour and a half.
you'll work for 3 hours, $199.
Oh, sorry. 123.
you can make a copy of this. And if you want the original, check your emails from Silver South, Jeanette sent it out.
I'll just get it off the email.
I'm sorry?
I'll just get it off the email.
Or I can make a copy of it with my notes on it too.
The letter of engagement for the audit.
Yeah, I read it.
In fact, did we actually make a motion to go forward for this, or?
No, Tom and Eric wanted to wait to do it today.
I make a motion that we sign the engagement letter with Beerhoff for our audit.
I'll second it. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
We all signed this, is that correct?
No, I just looked at that.
I think it's just the chair. I think it's the chair underneath, isn't it? Yeah. You're signing on governance, the governance signature. We need to sign a certificate of authority, or have the select board sign a certificate of authority for a grant that he applied for. I need to get some point out to fix that, because I put his name and he can't be the signer of the grant and that designated person. The grant amount is $10,250. And it's to pay for EMT training classes. This is one that he applied for the grant and then was told that the grant money was all gone. Well, now so many departments complained about that, so now he's been asked to do this document to get it submitted so that the towns can be reimbursed for the costs that they put out. So I need to get right up. It's the same document that
It'll be signed.
the board signs for all of the grants.
We got a motion on signing it.
You do have a motion on signing it?
I'll make a motion.
Oh.
Or did we
Sorry, I
already-
thought you were saying you had a motion.
Did we do this before?
It needs to be filled out before I sign it.
Yeah,
That's-
I needed to get white out, that's all. I'm sorry.
Did we do this before, like months ago?
Not for this grant.
Okay,
You have to do one for every grant.
okay.
But we did do one for the clean diesel grant. Even though we said we weren't taking it, they said, you have a year that you have to figure it out. Why not just sign it and make a decision then
Right.
later?
But I thought the mitigation grant that.
This isn't-
It's different than this one,
Yes.
but I thought, so I'm just getting confused. Okay.
Sorry.
I'll make a motion that we sign the authorization to accept the EMT training grant. Fire, the,
Well, so this is to sign the certification of authority, which basically just gives people the authority to sign for that grant.
okay,
That's what it is. So you have to have a person that signs the grant and then a person that can sign the agreement that comes back from them. So I'm usually that person that signs that.
so we're authorizing you to. sign.
You're authorizing me to sign that document. Yes, that's what this is.
I will make a motion accordingly.
Second. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
I think we need to go over what warrant articles we anticipate repeating from last year.
So we'll have the operating budget, obviously.
Mhm.
Last year, we had 15,000 going into the town building.
Mm-hmm. Do we anticipate doing that one again?
I think a good wall building is, we should do that.
I agree.
Can you speak up when you say those articles so I can hear you?
So we have the operating budget. Then we have the town building capital reserve fund. Last year we put 15,000 in there. We had a warrant article with 15,000 in. Look at the front of the,
What page is
page 3.
page 3? There you go.
I mean, actually, the first one will be election of officers.
Yeah, I'm not worried about the order of them, I'm just wanting to know which ones we're going to duplicate. Sorry.
So the sewer pump, last year we did 2,000.
And we haven't spent any money out of that. I'm not saying we shouldn't put any money in, because we're gonna come to a time where it's gonna cost money to do stuff there to the sewer system, but
I think we should, the other thing we were going to do in the flood last summer, side railed it, was meet with other people in Vermont and also in the state to try to develop a rational plan for capital improvements in the sewer company.
Yep.
So,
maybe we can get back to that.
yeah. So the highway department and the equipment, capital reserve fund, last year we put in 25,000. And I think these amounts that we did last year have been consistent with prior years.
$25,000, if you're talking about the backhoe and,
No,
That's-
just a
That's what we put in, but actually,
fund.
this is where that money would come from, so we should,
Didn't we put that in the budget? Who's got? Yes. $52,000 is in the proposed budget for equipment. Yeah.
so this would be adding to it if we need to replace the truck in a
Yeah.
few years or whatever. We've been putting 75K in the paving capital reserve fund. That doesn't cover much actual paving, and we went into that for all the gravel we used.
right. They didn't get a price on what that's gonna cost yet, did they? The actual paving.
The last time we pulled from it, 150K went for just, I don't know, a couple of miles on, I can't even remember which road it was. It doesn't go very far,
Don't go very far now.
not with the cost of asphalt. So, I mean, this is a starting point. Do we need to ask for more?
Probably.
What do you think?
Well, I think that money should be able to be replenished once we get funds from FEMA.
Okay.
I think that's something that would have to be addressed at the public hearing for unanticipated funds.
But just going forward, we want, and we're talking about repaving roads, not making a dirt road paved.
Right.
You know, it just isn't going very far. So then we have our EMS equipment capital reserve, we've been adding 10,000 to that. So we've been adding 10,000 to the fire department vehicle. Capital reserve fund. And as you, I skipped one, so I went back, so if you're looking at the warrant articles in the portal, will be reversed, those two will be reversed.
That's fine.
Okay. We started putting money into the legal fund, capital reserve fund, we did 10,000 last year. That's it for the standard ones. You're looking at keeping them the same or increasing them?
Except he was gonna be coming in, so keep them about the same. You wanna increase them or keep them about the same?
Think about the same, but
And we'll go over these again when we get the warrant to approve. And I'm just looking at these, we did do the money for the fire vehicle sale, right? We put that in the reserve.
Mhm.
Okay, good. And then-
we gotta think about, the memorial page for, Victor St. Cyr as well. We should, have somebody that's close to him to write something up to put Victor in there.
So we need to decide who we want to dedicate to. I was thinking that, the highway and fire department for everything they did for the flood would be a good donation, recognition.
Well, we can, but Victor definitely is going there too, cause it's this, I mean, this was his town, I mean, his family's town, it's his heritage. And that'd be very rude for us not even think about it.
This was his baby.
So are we gonna divide up the work that we have to do getting ready for town meeting? You know, there's a lot to be done for the annual work, getting things together. And we're just like, we're gonna divide up some of the work, getting it together, okay.
So explain some of the work that has to be done now.
So this is from the NHMA website. This is a required information that has to go into the town meeting. So we need reports from all the departments. You know, we usually have the annual report dedicated, which we just talked about. Have you gotten any of the reports yet?
I've gotten some of them.
I'll work on the one for Victor, the dedication.
Okay, and then at some point we'll have to vote on what we want.
How do you wanna split that up?
That's what I was asking the two of you. you already asked people for their reports? So you're way ahead of us. What will help you?
I don't know. I have a lot of balls in the air right now, so I haven't even started looking at really the town report.
That's why I'm asking what will help you.
Well, I never did, so you'll have to kind of explain a little bit what do we do?
I'm sorry, say
I
again?
said I never did it, so explain it. What do you do? Take off, talk about.
Well, you have to get things from people. And sometimes people are very quick to give them, sometimes you have to follow up. Jeanette's already reached out asking people for things, so we need to work with her. Then there's the physical part of putting it together in a document and getting all paginated and all of that, which takes a lot of time, but it's important, it has to be done so we can send it to the printers. We also should decide if we're gonna use the same printer as previous years, which I think we checked prices a few years ago. I'm trying to remember when. And,
I've already checked pricing.
okay, so we should stay with this printer?
He'll give us the same pricing he's given us the last couple of years.
Okay. And he's been good to work with.
Can I see this?
So Tom, you're gonna work on, are we in agreement, like 2 dedications, one to staff who help with the flood, and then you want Vic? I mean, my only concern with Vic is that he caused a lot of problems for the town when we had an employee accused of stealing, and that was not shown to be true in the court.
That's, you should be saying that, that's not true. You know, everybody's got faults in life, we all have them, and I don't, to say that, a man that's not here, I'm sorry,
But it's true, that was been in the court records, in the papers, it's public information. So you'll write up a dedication to Vic. And then we'll do a dedication to staff who responded to the flood. Eric, can you write that or draft it, or
What's that?
a dedication to the flood responders?
Someone needs to do the selectmen's report.
Can you take a stab at that?
Gonna need the first draft of everything for the next meeting. Everything has to be put together, assembled, numbered, edited, voted, and approved before the 17th, which is a holiday, which is the next question as to what date are we moving the meeting to? Because the 17th of February is a holiday. So we really need to have everything voted on by the 10th, so it can be finalized and sent to the printer before the 14th.
So the 17th is a holiday.
Yes.
Shall we make that Thursday? Is that what she's reviewing?
That's what I,
Yeah, if we have to.
What date?
20th.
Well, kind of squeezed that, probably ain't got much choice, so, you got anything on the 10th yet?
We'll probably have a working session.
I'm open, so.
So are we meeting on the 20th?
I think so.
And who's gonna come sign checks? Payroll checks, they have to be signed by Wednesday, the 19th. I'll cut them on the 18th.
Tom, do you want to sign payroll checks?
I will if my wife doesn't have a doctor's appointment, that's the only thing. I can't, I gotta play day by day.
Can you let us know, and I'll come do it if you can?
Yeah. Yeah, I can let you know ahead of time, yeah.
We also have the town report and town meeting things for now, Jeanette.
Yeah, I think so. Thank you.
That's something I was concerned after last meeting, because we received titles in chapter 149M, section 4, stating a town may contract upon a majority vote of its legislative body for the owners or operators of solid waste disposal facilities for the disposal of solid waste. So I wanted clarification of that, so I sent it to NHMA and I said, does this mean that a select board cannot contract with a different commercial landfill operation without going to the legislative body at town meeting? And Steve Buckley responded, whenever statute states that a town may undertake a particular action, that always means that the proposed action shall be approved by both the town meeting. In this instance, paragraph 4, for RSA 149 M:17(4) dictates that the town meeting, upon majority vote of the legislative body, the town meeting, may enter into a contract with the owners or operators of solid waste disposal facilities for the disposal of solid waste. Yes, this means the select board cannot contract with a commercial landfill operation for the purpose of disposal of solid waste without going to the legislative body at town meeting approval.
Yeah, we already knew that.
But we did it.
No, we didn't.
Yes, we did.
We have not done a contract yet. we are in negotiation mode, and you have to do your negotiation mode to bring something to the town.
This is the agreement that was approved and signed last week to take our trash to Carberry, to a commercial landfill.
NCES.
Excuse me, NCES. Yes, this means the select board cannot contract with a commercial landfill operation for the purpose of disposal of solid waste without going to the legislative body at town meeting approval.
Why'd you ask for a contract then? We didn't really need a contract. And did you do that with Carberry? Did it go through the legislative body?
So I didn't know about this, or we would have.
Well,
I mean, we looked at the appropriations, but this was brought to our attention as a select board by two different people.
yeah, I'm
So,
sure.
I'm just putting it out there. I mean, I didn't vote for the agreement, but the board as a whole did, and this is concerning to me.
That HCI, is that on the website, the host agreement, and where people can look it up and sign up for the committee for this? Is that on the website for people to come
This is
forward?
different than the host community agreement. This is contracting with a commercial landfill for disposal of all waste.
Well, we're gonna have to get together with legal again, to really find out what's going on. What do we, you know, you're not making any sense. I mean, every time you turn around, you're pulling something out of the hat, and, you know, I don't think that was an issue there. And that's, you know, it just don't make sense to me. I'm not a legal person, so I don't know how to give you the answer. I don't know, I'm not a lawyer.
That's why I reached out to NHMA to see if it applied to this. I mean, so what you want to do with this is, you know.
Is that the, warrant that was spelled out last Thursday?
That was,
Is
yes.
that the warrant right there that you
This is-
read to NHMA?
No, this
No,
is,
this is not a warrant.
this is RSA 149M that was given to the board,
I
you
know
as the
that part of
board.
it, but didn't you just get done saying that you asked them about the new warrant that was done last Thursday?
No, the contract that you guys executed with Casella. You guys voted on the municipal waste contract at last week's meeting after reading RSA 149M and saying that it didn't matter. You moved to sign the contract and you signed the contract. You and Eric voted yes, Joe Beth voted no. Joe Beth followed up with NHMA saying, does this RSA mean that XYZ? And NHMA came back and said, correct. The selectmen cannot go into a contract at a commercial municipal waste facility without it going in front of and getting the vote of the legislative body, which is the town, at town meeting. So essentially, they're saying that you guys should not have signed the contract with Casella. That's what she's saying.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Did you, and you knew about it, during the time of the signing, you knew about this?
We all knew about it. And I brought it, you know, it was brought to our attention. Paul gave us information that included a copy of it before the meeting. And Kathy brought us a copy of it with that section highlighted at the beginning of the meeting and handed it out. We all knew about it.
She just took it a step further and went to NHMA.
It just, in thinking about it, I'm thinking, I wasn't sure that this applied to, I mean, it looks like it does, but I wasn't sure it applied to contracting with a commercial landfill to dispose of our waste, and I wanted confirmation of that. But we all saw this, and
And you're
the
the one,
decision was last week.
you're the one that wanted the contract.
What?
I
You're the
voted
one that brought it
against
up, didn't you? Didn't you bring it up, say you want a contract? You want a written contract from them, and then,
Mhm.
be sure. Well, I don't know what to tell you. I'm not, like I said, Eric, you're the chair. When you call on that other stuff, ask them. I don't know. I don't know what to say. I don't know what to do.
Due diligence. That's all I could say is due diligence.
What are the repercussions if that happened? Is there a repercussion for the town or legality that if
Point of order.
that you moved outside of your own,
It is.
See?
Jenny.
That was pretty
So I
good.
did ask about what the recourse was, and when you ask, what is the recourse if the town did not have proper town meeting approval? This might mean that any contract entered into without town meeting approval is void or voidable, because the select board did not have that actual authority to enter into that contract.
Can I get a copy of that after?
The
email or
the email?
Yeah.
I make a motion to go into non-public for legal under RSA 91A, section 2L.
I'll second it. All in favor?
continue that out and continue?
No idea.
Am I staying or am I leaving? I don't have any non-public.
Without that.